I'm Akshay. I'm gonna talk about decentralized AI today. And before I dive deep into the term, let me tell you how I got through it. In 2025, if you're not aware about it, it's definitely gonna be a bit late if you go ahead and come across in 2026. Because by that time, maybe you're gonna be get occupied by the various big names in the market, the Google, the Microsoft. And what the companies do, and why are the companies such as OpenxAI, Akash Network, or even companies like Ether are going ahead and grabbing the space of decentralized marketplace of GPUs at the same time, providing you the opportunity to go ahead and consider AI as something that is permissionless. So, decentralized AI and this term has been revolving around since the time of the Web3, and at the same time, how to go ahead and provide ownership to the people more and more on this particular note. You might have seen the restrictions that have been revolving around the various models, such as DeepSeek doesn't give you answer around the massacre of the Tiananmen Square, and at the same time, you won't get the answers from ChatGPT that are worth you are looking for. These restrictions gonna be stay not only for the internet, they are gonna be more diving deep into the AI side of things now. That's the space OpenxAI is filling. And to describe you all of that, I'm going to dive slowly into the articles that they have published. This space is something that they've been targeting for some time, and it's been actually other companies that have joined in into the decentralized space, and that's the term and the statement they have telling. What they want to do is not go ahead and pitch themselves out as a community or even as a company who just deals with the business. They want to create something of a decentralized space where every other company works together, every other person works together and share their profits at the same time, go ahead and work together in a permissionless environment. If you might have been hearing these terms just for now, the permissionless, the decentralized AI and everything, let me just take you a bit down the memory lane. So how did it all begin? If you have been aware about the market shock that happened when the DeepSeek came in, that's where it basically ignited this. There was a model, DeepSeek, that did came around in January 2025, and it costed the complete S&P 500. Yeah, that's the stock market of USA, around $1 trillion. And that's a lot because firstly, that startup DeepSeek is only cost few $1 million, and that's where they came out with it with an open source alternative. So you might be thinking, this all might be a bubble, right? Well, no, it's not exactly that. The AI and everything, and the technologies the DeepSeek used, and the GPUs they used, it was just that maybe the companies such as the OpenAI and the Anthropic, at the same time, the companies that are developing their own models, there was this kind of blur created in the people minds that, yeah, this type of technology actually costs this much, and this type of technology actually has these restrictions, and they have been developing this thing in their minds, and it has been constant. So when this kind of model did came along, something that was permissionless, something that was very cheap, something that was open source to the people realized that these companies, they have been investing highly, they have been investing in Microsoft for some time, which Microsoft have been investing billions in OpenAI. They got the space and targeted it like, yeah, maybe the amount of money and things they're investing are not worth it, because a startup out of China is going ahead and grabbing that space at cheaper and cheaper prices. So that's where it came along. So as you might be seeing in this particular article, it's been beautifully laid out by the people from OpenxAI, and what they have told us that around January 23 and 24, the S&P 500 took a big hit because of these AI fears regarding the costing and regarding this, that maybe is it a bubble. So with this coming more along, this kind of illusion has been still in the people's mind, and I won't call it an illusion, but basically this is the reality that's been diving deep into the people's minds, that AI and the GPUs and everything cost this much. Because of which, if they have a cool idea, if they have want to go ahead and pitch a cool idea to their basically peers, they are not able to do that, because something in their mind is always stuck, yeah, that these GPUs and the amount of money they have to invest in an AI startup is something worth millions, and because of which they don't even get themselves out to compete with these big companies like OpenAI and Anthropic. This is the space, the companies where the need of OpenxAI and Akash network and stuff like that are basically necessary. So unlike OpenAI's GPT-4, which basically relies on brute force hardware acceleration, DeepSeek only focused on software optimization. So what DeepSeek did was, OpenAI has its own GPU. It focused on like how those GPUs are basically working fine, at the same time how they can be go ahead and work faster, or be basically how more and more GPUs can be work around of providing their models more capacity to answering their questions. DeepSeek only relied on actually optimizing the software. all of its GPUs and everything was basically not owned by themselves. They were just going ahead and using it out of from cloud. So that's one of the another reasons. You might be thinking, yeah, so that's the reason they are not investing millions and billions into their startup, because they don't even require a GPU. Well, you are absolutely right. But consider you are a person who wants to grow a startup, right? Will you be a person who can get rent GPUs from the internet cloud the same way DeepSeek does? No, you can't. You need to have the proper licensing and everything in their place. But now you can. So that's another point that has been laid out by OpenxAI, that the modern AI today is the arc of convenient. If you are not aware about it, in the previous times, the big names in the world were the kings and all the ministers. They hold all the power. And once they have all the power, the more and more sake of people and everything they die out. They don't have those particular rights. They don't have their particular permissions. At the same time, everything they had to be think about was only limited to the bubble which the king and the ministers have laid out, basically limiting them further. And today AI is the modern version of it. It goes ahead and works around that how government fight to control the AI research. As I stated, that China has its rules on DeepSeek, and then you have corporations spend billions to dominate the AI infrastructure. You might be seeing how the big names like Mark Zuckerberg is going ahead and contesting to poach the various people out from various companies such as OpenAI and those companies, and provide them the millions of dollars. Do those engineers deserve that amount of money? Yeah, they do. But at the same time, do they deserve the cost of spending this much on the AI infrastructure just so a user can get a better reasoning out of it? No. People are investing millions because, and right now it has turned into a race that's never going to end if you don't take proper actions around it. And thirdly, the secrecy surrounds how AI models are trained and governed. You have your own model, well, you don't. This is how the things revolved. Consider this is the statement that now you consider you have your own model. You can install it. You can use Olama. You can ask it various questions. Well, why not you go ahead and ask it about something that's related to the Taiwanese massacre? Does it give the answer? No, it won't, right? So that's where the biggest issue lies. You can't do that. At the same time, other basically real world use cases where you want to go ahead and dive into a particular niche topic, you're not able to do that. Even though you have paid all the reckless amount of money to use that OpenAI model, you're not able to authorize the real capabilities of it. And then we have the complete status study that has been done. I'm not going to go deep into that, but I'm going to share you these articles so you can go ahead and look around more. But what they have told about is basically how that open AI is backed by Microsoft. They spent millions of dollars on it. They took all of the investors money, invested it all into it, into OpenAI, just so it can give better answers. Well, at that time I might consider it could be a bubble, that people might just shoving more and more money. At the same time, stakeholders were also getting more return, because right now the humans were being replaced by OpenAI. This was the particular theory around it. But when the DeepSeek came in, a small startup, and it claimed to build a superior model for just 5 million. If you're not aware about it and you're not following DeepSeek, there was just a few number of people in their team who went ahead and created DeepSeek and published it out for the open source. And to this day, some people use it for their various querying capabilities. Over there in China, maybe it's gonna be the first go-to model where the people are querying it. You might never know, but at the same time, all these models and the capabilities around it has been laid out by DeepSeek. This was basically the ignition that gave all of the people to think around this particular bubble. So even if the number isn't confirmed, we can say that you don't need to spend billions for creating a world-class AI. And that's the thing I'm going to talk about later in this particular video, because AI is not a bubble, it's a cycle. So consider, like in this particular article, what I basically liked was this particular aspect and the point. So if all of the people consider AI as a bubble, like all of the millions of dollars Zuckerberg is spending to post those people out is basically for this particular timeline, maybe it might not do well. You are right. After some months, the kind of wave might die on. Basically might have some saturation of the engineers and everything going along. This would come along, but it would only be kind of for that particular range. As more and more products going to be developed, more and more use cases of the people going to be coming in, and more people might be looking forward to be replaced. So as it's going to happen, it's going to make people lose their job. It's going to make people lose whatever they are working for, but at the same time it's going to give the stakeholders money, and it's going to return in every 2 to 5 years. Well, that's the particular use of it. Consider you are right now working at a company, you are working as a marketing guy, right? You got replaced by a person or a voice agent that can reply to you the conversations. Well, you got replaced by AI. At the same time, then it's going to target the other hierarchy of people, the managers who are going ahead and working around with the voice agents. Sometime the voice agent gets some issues, so now they're gonna be not even redacted, they're gonna be redacted to a better model that's gonna be answering the user queries. If someone wants to get a refund and everything around it, it's gonna handle it all. So this is where they're gonna be talking about this here. So consider it's like it's not large corporations anymore that they are going to witness this complete transition of the people, and the people being laying off. AI is being and better, just like computers did over time. So as you might have seen with the growing of the internet and everything, with the growing needs of the people, AI, the internet, and basically got accessible to more, like the people over there in India, people over there in Africa, it got accessible by all of them, and with their needs they had to adapt more. 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, and even 6G have come in. So that's how it's growing. At the same time, it's a cycle, like every time or so people get the need of having a faster internet speed, and then the basically the bubble increases, and it's kind of a cycle. That's how it's gonna. So AI is not gonna go far, right? AI and the GPUs need, and the need of creating better models is not gonna go far. But at the same time, if we revolve ourselves around only some few set of companies, just like to get our GPUs we rely on, for example, Microsoft Cloud, and you rely on, for example, for Google Cloud Platform, you rely on GCP for getting this GPUs and training your models. Well, to be very honest, you're not going to get the real use case out of it, because all of those companies, if you're not following along, these companies provide you huge markup of prices only because of the fact they control all of those big GPU data centers. And as they continue to go ahead and grab it more and more, they're gonna have their own supply demand the way they want it to be. So, the illusion of open source AI and what it is. Well, here it's been said that how I also told you, like DeepSeek is also an open source model, but it doesn't give you some answers. And it's also attached to a private cloud and owned by a private company. If it's owned by a private company, it would have its own particular use cases, and as it doesn't give some answers that are related to not relying with the China policies, some people call it the Chinese AI, and that's not even incorrect. It's gonna happen for all the open source models that's gonna come out. There always gonna be some person controlling it. You can't access them out the complete box for your use case. So even open source AI can be controlled. DeepSeek has been running. It's necessary that you go ahead and ask these questions to you, that the model you are developing, who's the infrastructure of it, who's the servers and data sets, and who sets the rules for how AI can be used. Of course, not you and your team if you're going ahead and importing those complete GPUs and your models out from something that's centralized. So with the growing of the Web3, it's necessary that you tell let me tell you about the Web3 and the decentralized space now. Web3 has always been synonymous with Bitcoin, right? And how there was like ups and downs of Bitcoin. People used to trade it out and people used to earn money from it. That's the only space where it's been, right? From the complete COVID era. But it's necessary that you go ahead and see how this space has been evolving in the past years. I've been following it for some time, right? I have seen people build projects. I've seen people create some relevant projects in hackathons. Like I conduct lots of hackathons, right? So I've seen people how those use cases of Web3 technology have been increasing and increasing, right? I saw the people going ahead and creating a certificate securing platform, right, where they can secure those platforms on a particular hash. But at the same time, I've also seen people create some relevant projects out of the same problem statements that used to be around 2 3 years, not slightest of relevant projects, right? But now they're getting a whole lot of better. And how is that? Because with the growth of Web3, we are targeting the merge of AI and Web3 together. If you have seen this in the COVID era, Web3, and with the coming years, you have seen AI, well, they're both going to merge in 2026. That's the complete statement. I'm laying it out in front of you. If you were someone from 2014, you might have seen people talking. Well, you might have seen these people going ahead and trading it out like bitcoins, right? But at the same time, it's necessary that you see that the same space is being filled by the same particular ideology of the people. But now the AI can be traded, right? So it's gonna be that easy. So AI is the ultimate. If you have those questions answered in your mind, but consider that these same ideology is going to be following for the AI now, because AI is now an asset class, just like your bitcoins and everything what being traded. Now your AI models and everything can be traded, and now you can also earn money from that. Well, that I'm going to be diving later in the video, but it's necessary that we go ahead and cover all of these sections out, right? Because this is going to get more and more interesting now, because as the AI is now the asset class, and its AI is more dangerous than any previous technology because it combines these three centralized forces. Well, what the statement means about here, right? AI is dangerous. Everyone knows about, like, or people go ahead and yap out on the internet that AI is going to control over all the world. Well, that maybe could be true if it's controlled by a single monopoly. So, firstly, AI models are trained on your data, yet you have no say on how they are used. Whatever data you're going at dumping into your particular plant diseases model, how it's going to detect those all plant diseases, all of the data you are pushing into it, well, that's going to go ahead and feed into a single database that may be owned by a single monopoly out there. And how it's going to be trained, well, it all depends on their GPUs. Well, consider this, they have the access on your complete model and your data as well now. So the largest AI models have been trained on billions of using human interaction documents and images without permission. You might have seen this case of how Reddit is suing Anthropic nowadays, that how Reddit content was used by Anthropic to basically go ahead and filter out its content, go ahead and optimize it better for the users. That's how it was basically meant to be done, right? The same way could be OpenAI has done it. They have dumped your data, whatever thing has been provided by you, and not without consent. They have trained, and maybe they are answering some other person's query right now. And then the AI corporations claim your data, train your models, and then claim as theirs. That's the issues. And then you have the compute monopoly. And training AI requires computational power, and mainly GPUs and TPUs, and it's necessary. That's where they're following the deepin term. And what it is basically, it's the decentralized platform infrastructure. You can now go ahead and buy out all of these GPUs, not only limited from these cloud companies. That's the statement I started at the complete starting of this video of, that why these companies own all of those GPUs, because they have the massive data centers, they control the supply and demand of it. Well, not right now, because every person, maybe from this laptop I'm recording this particular video, I can go ahead and rent out this particular GPU for someone else for processing it out, and I can earn some money out of it. That's gonna be in the term of OpenX tokens. And that's where these complete open source mirror models and everything you want to build can be done, right? But now there, every open source model runs on a centralized cloud infrastructure. Same could be for DeepSeek. And then the decision monopoly, OpenAI, Google, Meta decide what AI should do and what they shouldn't do. So it's necessary that we go ahead and consider all of these points, right? I have told you of how this particular issue has been with centralized AI. And then I told what are the various challenges the people have been facing with the creation of their complete AI models, and how the companies such as the Google, Meta, and everything are controlling your AI. So, how we need to go ahead and grab the space is necessary. And I will go ahead and dive into these more sections, but right now we can consider this as a good stop of, let me get you in on a bit of a curiosity that how the need of a decentralized governance is actually there in considering this particular year especially. So more on that later. So before I complete out all this video and combine all these points for you, OpenxAI is simply a AI without a middleman. It's necessary that you consider this statement as something you're gonna be considering your future startups with. It's built on three different principles. Firstly, the decentralized AI compute. You can grab all of those GPUs in a decentralized manner. As I stated, maybe from my own laptop. Secondly, open source your AI models. AI and everything should be transparent. This is the integral principle of them. You can consider, build, create your own models, give it out to the people, control it how you want it, ask it to answer even the time and his questions. What happened in that particular square, answer every single question out there for every particular user. How deep you want to go into a particular topic, you are allowed to do that without restrictions. The way you want to control it, you can do that. And then it's AI without gatekeepers. No single company has the authority to grab your data, train it according to the yours, and publish it out as a new version of their GPT-5. Well, congratulations, more the data they have from your internet have been grabbed, and now they can even answer what particular company this particular guy might have worked in his previous years. Well, congrats on that. So consider this as a statement, and maybe in 2026 we might have a good growth on this particular term, decentralized AI. So before that, I will catch you later. Till then, this is for the OpenxAI and the decentralized AI, where AI is simply an asset class.